Hey everybody, what's going on? Eric here. Hope you guys are doing good. I'm doing just great. Hold that thought just for 1 minute because I make myself look a little presentable, right? And I am on the internet. So, what do we got here for today? Well, I have a little bit of an unboxing, unbagging, something like that. Something that I've been working on to try to get to you guys. And I want to start working on this guitar, this Dean, and get it done, hopefully. Alright, so what I want to do first is the unboxing, unboxing, whatever you want to call it, and get that done and out of the way. Now, this is something I've been working on to try to get a little bit, maybe my name out there or something cool for you guys, whatever. But yeah, I've been having good luck at getting the product, not good luck as far as getting the product to you. So I'm still working on that. I found a couple of websites, but again, I have to kind of reconfigure the shirt a little bit, make a duplicate of what I've already made for their website, and then they will offer it to you guys. So you guys pay them, they ship it to you, and I don't know if I get a portion of it or whatever, but we'll see how that works. I don't really care about the portion part of it, but let's get into what the shirts look like. So this one I went through Vistaprint, and I just received it today. So this is kind of how Vistaprint packages their shit. So I'm not too crazy about that, because if this gets wet or something, you know, is this bagged? Oh yeah, it is bagged. So let's see what we got here. Alright, so they give you your bunch of goofy shit. So I got like $30 off of orders of $200 plus. What else is inside here? I got a Stand with Ukraine sticker, which I am part Ukraine, so. And what is this? We stand with you. Okay, that's just a little bit of an advertisement. So here is one of the shirts that I ended up having made, and this is a new one compared to the ones that I've already had or showed you. And this one kind of explains it all as well. So let me take this tag off of here. Alright, so this is a XX for me, which this one is an extra large, and it seems to fit a little bit better than a XX does. But alright, so here's the shirt. It's got my logo on it, or See the Art of Noise, and then has, you know, some guitar stuff. Now what I kind of don't like is they used the black. They printed it up exactly the way that it was shown on the site when I designed this. So this is kind of black. So if I do this on a different color shirt, there's going to be a black background, and that I don't want. But custom ink, you're able to get rid of the background, and it makes a little bit better of a quality of a shirt. So got my logo. It's in flames. The outline so far doesn't look as crisp as what custom ink does, but yeah, it's not too bad. And I got the red YouTube logo because custom ink will not do that. So let's check out what the other one is. And they stink too. This shirt smells. It's got like you can tell it's new. All right, custom ink. They bagged their shit. So this is the second one that I got from Custom Ink, and I'm happy with the outcome and how this shirt looks. But the cost of it is, you know, like I said, it's like 40 bucks. So let's see what this one turned out to be like. All right, build more connections. Create. All right. So I want to see what this one looks like. Again, this is a XX. This is a front and back. Peel this off. Now these shirts feel, they're not as soft as the Vistaprint is, but they feel a little bit thicker. like they're a little bit of a heavier shirt. All right, so it's pretty simple. Now the outlining on this is a lot more crisper, a lot more cleaner. I had to go with a different YouTube logo that I found on the internet. It's either they have a logo that's like a circle or something, and they cannot do it in red because YouTube will bitch about it. And then on the back of it, I kept it pretty simple as well, explaining, got the guitar, my logo, where the bridge would be. So it's pretty simple, not bad. But yeah, and even this, just to do this was $40. So welcome back to the Dean Shire. Beautiful guitar, kind of like a Les Paul lookalike, but not enough of a lookalike that Gibson's going to bitch about it. Love the Les Paul body style. Just something about it that the curves and everything just looks really nice. I love the way that what they did with this is they sharpened the horn and they kind of gave this a little bit of a curve going into the neck instead of going straight into the neck. Kind of a nice idea, nice shape. So you've seen the last video that I did of this guitar. Polished the frets, cleaned the fretboard. Fretboard has been oiled. Headstock tuners have been tightened. Nut on top, screw on the bottom. It's got Grover tuners on it. Now I got to get to tightening up other loose ends that are on this guitar that are going to make it like a little bit weird to play it when, you know, things are loose, switches are loose and shit like that. So I'm hoping I don't have to remove the pickup in order to tighten up the switch. As you can see, it's pretty loose, and there's nothing on the back here to basically open up a cover and stick your fingers inside there to hold it in place. I don't know if this will fit on here. Will it fit on here? Yes. That's better. Much better than what it was. Too crooked before. Alright, so that's done. Ain't going nowhere now. Make sure that's tight. Make sure I snug these guys up really good. Check these. Now see, these were loose. Loose quite a bit. Sometimes people forget. Check your strap locks to make sure those are in. Now, don't really care for this pick guard, but kind of looks nice with this body because of the black. But yeah. So how am I doing with hiding these wires? Not all that great. This push and pull switch here is in the way. All right, let's see here. There's really not much I could do to hide these wires. There's a block of wood right here, and these wires are kind of right up against it, so I'm really not going to change that. So I'm going to go ahead and put this cover back on. This cover still has its plastic on it too. So let's get that. I want to get that plastic off there. Tape, bing, comes it off. All right, let's get this plastic off here. It's plastic, you leave them on too long and they could cause a problem later. Sometimes it'll leave residue behind. Alright, and get the two screws that hold that in place. Two different screws. Now I have some water over here with some sandpaper inside there. I've got some 1500, and I got a piece of 2000 inside there, just in case I find a scratch that it's in the finish that is not going to come out after hand polishing it. So what I'm going to start off with is the headstock, because, well, that's the top of the guitar. And what I'm going to use is I'm going to use the machine polish #2 rubbing compound by 3M. And then I'm going to end up going over it with the Scratch Doctor after that. Now the Scratch Doctor is not a polish, all right? These are the polishes. This will also clean the finish for any like films, impurities, or anything else. But again, you want to make sure that the surface is dust free. There's no debris, no chips of anything on there, because once you hit it with this and a rag, well, you're going to scratch up the finish. Those little pieces of debris are going to be in the rag, and you're going to contaminate the rest of the guitar and possibly contaminate what you're using as a polish. So what I end up doing is I buy the microfiber cloths by the bundle. So I got 2 bundles over here, one open, one still closed. These are great. I end up using these over and over again. They are machine washable, but anything that I use with oils, or anything that I'm doing as far as like maybe leveling and crowning and polishing frets go, if I end up using any of these rags, those get thrown away. I will not save them. The reason being is, well, now they're contaminated with metals. Those metals are not going to wash out, and if they do wash out, well, you're still running a chance of having the metal still inside of your rags, and it's still going to be a problem with your finish. So I'm going to take some air and blow off. So they put some, which is stupid because they painted right on top of it. They painted on top of the inside of the slot where the truss rod is, right on top of the rubbing compounds with the black shielding paint, and I just ended up blowing this out, and the shielding paint came out like in chips. So what I want to do is like blow off any debris, get my machine polish, not a lot, just a little bit, work it into the finish. If it gets on the tuners, that's fine. Get up and close to everything. And the more that you kind of rub this in, the better you're going to get results. You can also use this to polish up the nut as far as, so as you can see, it's got some dirt in there, which part of that is the black from the shielding paint that they used and kind of got sloppy with around the edges, which I'm cleaning that off as we speak. I don't like that, and I don't want that on the finish. So I'm trying to do a little bit of a circular motion here as I'm doing this, not just a rubbing from side to side or front to back. I do not recommend using shop towels for doing this. I don't recommend using paper towels for doing this, especially on anything that has got black finish on it. You are going to see a haze. You are going to see some type of rubbing marks as far as the direction that you're rubbing. You're not going to get a nice gloss finish using shop towels or paper towels. I don't care who you are, what you say, or how long you've been doing it. Paper towels are not for paint or clear coats or finishes. Alright, so that's done. Now I want to take the Scratch Doctor I know I'm using the same color rags. How I tell the difference between which rag I'm using for what product, I smell the rag. The rag smells like it's got rubbing compound on it, then, well, it's got rubbing compound on it. Each chemical that I use has its own smell to it. Got a lot on here, not a real lot, but that's enough. Some of it kind of just poured out a little bit. I'm going to rub it into the rag. And I just want this to kind of like polish into all the nooks and crannies. I will wipe it out when it gets time to wipe that out. But again, you know, this is not a polish. This is basically, well, Scratch Doctor. That's what it's called. You know, some people will say that, oh, it works like a polish. Yeah, well, that's not what it's intended for. Alright, find a clean area and wipe it off. You know, just like when you're polishing a car or washing a car or waxing a vehicle or something like that, you know, you want to make sure that you get into all the cracks, because just like on a vehicle, it looks ugly. You know, you got somebody who did a real nice wax job on their vehicle, but didn't get out of all the cracks and crevices, and now you see like these white marks or lines and shit and all the cracks and creases, and yeah, it just looks like shit. So you want to make sure you wipe this thing good to get everything off of the finish, including all the edges, all the corners. Alright, so can't beat that. Get it into light, no glare. Well, hazy glare. Got the glare from the light. And it's black. That's what it's supposed to look like. So what I've been using for like a sealer wax, which works really nice. I've always been a McGuire's fan. So I've been using this hybrid ceramic wax liquid. Stuff is really nice, and it also won't let when you got a good coating of this stuff on it, you let it dry, wipe it off, it won't let stains penetrate into the finish. It helps with protecting the finish really nice from, you know, anything, especially like if you use this on your paint on a vehicle. It helps out a lot as far as protecting that finish from dirt and grime and shit. Now, you still have to rinse the vehicle before you wash the vehicle, regardless if you're using any type of a wax on it or not. But for this application here, it works really, really nice. And it's got a decent smell to it. It smells pretty good. So I'm just going to wipe it over everything over here. And again, you know, I'm wiping it on everything. And I'm going to let that dry. So what I want to do next is to flip the guitar over and work on the neck itself. Polish up. I love this color. See if I can remove this little smudge from where there used to be a sticker. So now, what's on what rag? Well, I know this rag here, that's got the Scratch Doctor. And this one's pretty dirty because there was a lot of crap on the headstock from that shielding paint. So I know that's what I used for the polishing compound. So even if I take this and get it on the tuners, that's not going to be that big of a deal. Now you want to be careful, because anything that is not clear coated, if there is a silkscreen serial number on your guitar, on your headstock, and it has not been cleared over, this will actually remove it or start to remove that silk screen. So you gotta be careful so you don't remove those numbers, the identifiers for your guitar. And it got rid of that little smudge from the sticker that was on here. So move this down a little bit. This will polish out some minor scratches that are in it. If I put this on the machine with the buffing wheel, yeah, this stuff will really do a number with it. But since I don't have to, polishing it by hand, it's a little bit more work, but you can achieve the same results. Hell, I've got plenty of videos to prove that. You can see there's a little bit of dirt on the body, but not much. Got to remember that, you know, the polishing compound is a little bit on the gray side as well, so it's just knowing the difference between what is dirt and what's not dirt. What am I stepping on over here? Is there a screw on the floor? I keep on stepping on something. It feels like there's a screw. So again, the same polish. Wipe it on, wipe it off. Wipe on, wipe off. Get the edges real nice too, because it is part of the finish. Kind of got lucky when I got this thing. Did not pay nowhere near what it's actually worth. And it really wasn't in that bad a shape. Nice, shiny, not pitted, not hazed over, deep chrome polished Grover tuners. Again, remove the smudge mark over here where there was a sticker. So far I don't see anything that I have to sand out and repolish again. Everything looks pretty damn nice. Alright, so I'm going to go with the Scratch Doctor on this. And that's just going to smooth the finish out even more. Getting rid of whatever micro scratches that either the polish left behind. Get in that crack really good because you will be able to see that. Now in order for this shit to work, you really got to rub into the finish in order for it to work right. You can't just apply it, rub it in, and then wipe it off right away. You got to do, you know, really rub it in there. That's with any type of a polish rubbing compound. In order to get that chemical to work the way it's supposed to, there are little bits of not sandpaper, but there are some abrasives in rubbing compounds that get you to achieve the shine that you're looking for, depending on the rubbing compound and the polish that you're using. Get that shit to work for you. That's what it's there for. Alright, so now I'm wiping off the residue that was left behind from polishing this, or removing the scratches from the last polish that I used on this thing. And it gives you a nice glass finish, and it's very smooth to the touch. And the noise that you're hearing is the cork rubbing up on the fretboard. You get up and close and everything to all the nooks and crannies. You know, and then if you bring this over to, say if you're trying to sell it, or you're making a trade or whatever you're doing with this thing, you can bring it to somebody to look at it and it'll be like, you know, well, all the corners, and it's got a nice polish on it, it's got a nice finish on there, there's no residue in any of the cracks, any of the corners. It looks like it's been a factory, you know, it looks like it's brand new, like a factory job. And that's what we want people to think when you're got something like this, that you know, either you're trying to sell, get rid of, or whatever you're doing with it. All right, now for the back of this thing, I'll use this side. Nice thing about like a large area like this, get the nice swirl motion going and really work the rubbing polish or the machine polish into the finish. Alright, so go over it with the scratch doctor. Again, not using it as a polish. Now, if this body was painted black, you would really see the difference between the two. And I think I've shown that in a video of mine of, you know, basically the 3 parts or 2 parts of the rubbing compound, what it looks like in different steps. And then with and without the scratch doctor, and then adding the wax to it, and what it gives you as far as a finished product, as far as a shine goes, and it works really nice together. And again, I'm not just rubbing it in and then rubbing it off, because that's serving no purpose at all. You got to work this into the finish in order for it to do something to the finish. The only bad thing about this color is you can't see if you left any residue anywhere on this finish. I mean, you'll see it in the cracks, but it's very hard to see it. So yeah, there's no scratches in this. I can see a little bit of a, if I can get into light, or maybe not. No, I don't see anything. I'm trying to get the light to change shape as far as straight lines go, and no, it's not. Alright, so let's get this front polished up a little bit here. Again with the rubbing compound. Well, machine polish, I mean. Hey, what's going on? So right now, everything that was done to the headstock, neck, back of the guitar has been done to the top of the body, sides, and right now I'm just wiping off any residue from the wax that I applied. Make this thing look like a brand new guitar. Now, I didn't find any scratches in the finish that I needed to use any sandpapers on or polish them out. This thing pretty much is scratch and chip free. So I want to make sure I get into the F-holes here and get whatever residue that is on it. Now, they kind of did a shitty job with the, now I don't know if it's painted on or if it is an actual inlay. It looks more like it's painted on, but there's like a little bit of a burr on the bottom edge of whatever they painted, or yeah, I think it's painted. It doesn't look like it would be a type of a binding or anything, but anyways, they did a little bit of a shitty job on that. They could have done a little bit better of a job, but I'm not going to scrape it off. I'm going to leave that burr on there. If I scrape it, that might expose wood and might look like shit. So I'm not just going to leave it alone. It's from the factory, and that's the way it's going to stay. So I don't fall for the gimmicks of the polishes that Fender, Dunlop, and Gibson put out. I have used them. I'm not impressed. They don't seem to be the same quality as 3M products or McGuire's products that are for finishes as well. Some of the sprays, when I say sprays, because that's kind of like what some of them are, is just a polish in a spray bottle. All right, well, it's got to be pretty thin in order to spray it out of that little nozzle, because if it was any thicker than what it is, it's going to clog that nozzle up or basically make it very difficult to spray when you try to spray it on, the finish or whatever you're doing. I don't fall for the gimmick, okay? And the price that they want for some of those kits and some of the products that they're selling for polishing your guitar with the brand names on them, and the quantity that they give you isn't worth it to me. So I rather buy a 3M product, have a 1 bottle quart, spend the $23 or $30 for the 1 quart bottle, and that's going to last me for a real long time. Even if I use that on, say, a finish in a garage, if I'm working on a car, doing some type of polishing, buffing, or whatever, I'm not going to go through that whole quart on one vehicle. All right, that stuff does last. If you know how to use it, that stuff does last a very long time. It is more expensive, but to me, the outcome of using a product that is meant for finishes, it's been around for years, you know what it's going to be as far as the quality of the finish, of how it's going to look when you're done using that product, compared to something that looks like, say, you're spraying Windex on, a body of a guitar and then we're just wiping it off just to get rid of fingerprints and shit like that. Well, if you're using, say, some type of a wax, an actual wax on the finish of your guitar, well, all you need is one of these. If you got some fingerprints on it, they basically wipe right off without damaging or doing anything to the finish under the wax. It works out pretty good. And you didn't have to spend, high prices for a small bottle of product with a big major brand name on there, which basically that's all you're spending the money on, is the brand name of the product that you're using anyways. Just like with Gibson guitars compared to like this one. Gibson guitars are much more expensive than this Dean Shire. Why? Well, it's got a Gibson name on it. You could throw in quality parts like Epiphone does with their Pro Tops, which a lot of them have Gibson electronics inside of them. My Cherry Burst, well, that screamed Gibson with an Epiphone logo on the headstock, period. Because the pickups, the electronics, everything about the guitar was a Gibson besides the headstock. Even though, Epiphone and Gibson kind of are in bed together, kind of makes a little bit of sense, but it doesn't have the hefty price tag of a Gibson. So this thing is pretty much done. I mean, I can't get this thing to look any newer than ordering it another one and trying to compare the two. There's no scratches on the pickups. The pickups are really nice as far as the chrome plating goes on those. Piece of my eyelash or my beard. This thing here, it's like, did this guy really use this guitar when he had it? Although that there was some loose parts as far as, the three-way switch goes, the output jack, the tuners, it wasn't abused. So yeah, this guitar is pretty much in nice shape. Now it may have had a, leveling and a crowning on the fretboard. It may have had somebody probably put some type of a polish on the frets without covering up the fretboard and getting it into the fretboard, which kind of makes it look like shit and difficult to get that polish or whatever that dried up in the cracks of the fretboard out. Fretboard's been oiled. This thing does have a bone nut, and I believe that this nut has been worked on a little bit because the action height doesn't feel like factory. Usually factory on a lot of guitars with any type of a bone or plastic nut, it's a little bit on the high side, but with having a straight neck, that could explain, the action height at the first fret being really nice. So if I end up putting a little bit of relief in it, which I'm going to, probably go like a 10,000s or 12,000s. 12,000s is like the maximum that I'll go. But that might give it a little bit of a higher action height at the first fret. We'll see. May not. The nut itself, this guitar comes from the factory with 9s on it. It had 9s when I got it. And the nut looks like somebody kind of reworked it, because when you look at the nut on the top part of it, usually you don't see a flat edge on one side of the back or the top side of the nut. Usually that's kind of rounded over better. I know Gibson does a real nice job. Epiphone does a decent job with working their nuts. But this one looks like it may have had an upgrade done to it, or somebody redid the stock if this one came stock with a bone. So what's going back on it? Well, I'm going back with 9s. That's what came off of it. That's what I'm going to put back on it. It sounded pretty good with the 9s too. I really believe that the 9s, especially with this, see, that's another thing too. When you have a piezo bridge on here, does the string gauge make a difference as far as tone goes on there? It's not like it is a magnetic pickup where the rotation of the string in front of the magnetic pickup means anything, because this is basically just going by the vibration at the end that it's picking up. I don't know. All I know is I don't care for the piezo because tapping on the body or handling the guitar, you hear it through that pickup. I don't like that, but I do like the sound of it. So kind of a mixed match feelings as far as that goes. So now it's going to be time for stringing her up and setting it up, because basically the rest of the work to get this thing back into shape, cleaning it up, tightening up all the loose ends is done. So that'll be a next video. Sorry guys. Right now, as it looks, I'm probably going to be posting this video tomorrow, which would be probably for today for you guys, but it's still tomorrow for me. So it's still today for me, but tomorrow for you. Yeah, that sounds better. I think that really works. All right, so I'm tired. I'm gonna go to bed, and you guys take it easy. Have a good one, and I will catch up with you all later. Thanks for watching.